Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is going to be a next video of my candlestick pattern series. Today I will look at one of the, in my opinion, one of the best candlestick patterns that there is, and that is the pin bar pattern. When I say pattern, it sounds a little bit weird because pin bar, it's like one candlestick, and yeah, so it's not like a pattern, but it's a pin bar candlestick. Just to clarify. Before we start with the coding part and the explanation of what pin bar is, how to use it, and all of this stuff, I just want to say that I have created a website that you can find in the description of this video, and you can find a lot of stuff there. So if you want some free indicators with high quality, then go check the website and you can download whatever you want. So yeah, that's it for the promotional part of the video. Let's get to the coding part. So I think the best way to start is to actually show you what a pin bar is. So if you have seen the previous video in which I code, I think it was evening and morning star patterns, I used a website for it, and I will use the same website for the pin bar as well. So yeah, when I go to this website, which is called morpher.com, you can find different candlestick patterns there, and here is the pin bar. So let's check the description of the pin bar. Let's find our conditions for the pin bar, and then let's proceed with the coding part. So yeah, if we check this, so pin bar is undoubtedly the most traded pattern out there, and it's for a good reason. So this is just why is it a good pattern? But what we are interested in is this second section, I would say. So the bullish pin bar is characterized by a long lower shadow. So that's this one, with a small body and a relatively short shadow on the other end. So yeah, so that's pretty self-explanatory. And then the tail of the pin bar, the lower shadow, has to be at least 2/3 of the entire length of the candlestick for the pattern to be valid. Okay, so this will be very, very important condition for us. And I guess it's the same thing for the bearish pin bar that we can see right here. We just like invert the bullish pin bar, and then we get the bearish pin bar. Okay, so this shouldn't be that difficult. So let's not waste any more time, and let's go to the coding part. So this is the MQL5 editor. I'm here in my candlestick patterns script, and yeah, let's add more functions. If you haven't seen the previous videos of this series, I would recommend to check it out. Mainly because I explain like the whole structure of this script in there, so it might give you a good insight on what's happening here. Yeah, so that's just it. Let's start. So I will need two new functions, one for the bearish candlestick and the second one for the bullish candlestick. And I think I will start with the bullish pin bar. I will start with the bullish version of the candlestick, and then I will just revert it. So let's start. So the function is of type void. That's because it doesn't yield any value at the end of it. So yeah, that's why it's a void function, and let's call it bullish pin bar. Okay, and it will require one integer argument that we will call shift. So shift is basically how to explain it. The shift parameter will be used in collecting data, and we need the shift parameter in order to know with which candlestick in history are we working with. Okay, so I hope that's clear. The first thing, I think the best practice is to get all of the data that we can get for the current candlestick, and then we can like work out the details and the conditions and the other stuff. So let's start. So double high is equal to I dot high symbol period and shift +1. Okay, that's because we will be calling this function. If I show it to you here, if we want to spot this pin bar, for example, then we will be calling the function at this candlestick and we'll be looking backwards. Okay, so yeah, and when we pass this shift argument right here, this shift value will correspond with this current candlestick. So that's why we are increasing the shift by 1, so we get the data for the previous candlestick. So that's why. And I will just copy this. I will paste it here 4 more times, and I'll just rename it to low, close, and open. And I'll just change I low, I close, and I open. Okay, so that's pretty simple. So this is all the information that we need to start with. Now, if we go back, it's clear that we need to know more or that we need to get more information about the candlestick. And the main part is, yeah, so is in here. So the bullish pin bar is characterized by a long lower shadow. So we need to get the distance of this lower shadow. Also, we need to know how large the body of the candlestick is, and we also need to know how large the upper shadow is. Okay, so and then we need to know how large the whole candlestick is. So these are like the pieces of information that we need in order to be able to catch the pin bar. So let's start. So candle size, that's simple. It's basically high minus low. Okay, then upper shadow, that will be high minus, and because it's bullish, then it will be minus close. Okay, then body size will be equal to close minus open, and then lower shadow will be equal to open minus low. Okay, and then also we need to check whether it's a bullish bar, and we will check it by checking whether close is above open price. Okay, so that's the information that we need. And now we can move on to the conditions. So let's go back here because I don't remember it for some reason. And yeah, so let's start with the most obvious or the most fundamental condition. And I would say that that is this last condition. So the tail of the pin bar, so the lower shadow, has to be at least 2/3 of the entire length of the candlestick. Okay, so let's check this condition. So let's create an if statement, and let's create a condition which will be if and now how to check this? How to check this? Let's think about it a bit. So that's pretty. it's simple. I don't know why I didn't know how to check this condition, but it's simple. So basically you say candle size times 0.66. So this is like 2/3 of like the entire size, and this has to be lower than the upper or lower shadow, than the lower shadow. Okay, so this is our first condition. Okay, so this is something that has to be true in order to continue. Then we also want to check the bullish bar. Okay, so this is our second condition. And then what we want to do, let's check it back if there's anything more. So long lower shadow that we have, small body and relatively small shadow. Okay, let's just go with this. I know that it's not that much, but they on the side they don't like say whether the upper shadow has to be bigger than the body size or not, or like they don't say anything more. So we'll just go with this. So if this is true, then we have found our bullish pin bar. Okay, and let's visualize the pin bar. So I will create string name variable, so that will be prefix plus bullish pin bar. Okay, and plus time. So I explained why the time variable, basically that because like we can't use the same name for all of the pin bars, so for each of the pin bar that we find, we change the name a bit by the time of the pin bar. Okay, so I hope that's clear. So now I will just create an object with the name, and because it's pin bar, let's firstly let's visualize it as an arrow that will point up. Okay, 0 time, so I did time symbol period, and it will be shift +1, and I low, I have this, so I low, so and the price will be low. Okay, so now just compile this and let's check what happens when we run this function on the main function. So I will call the bullish pin bar function here with the shift parameter. I will compile this, and now I can go back here and I can check it. So I will just disable all of these other candlestick patterns, and let's see what we get. Okay, I am really happy with this. As I look on this chart, it doesn't look that bad. Okay, so this is perfect pin bar, this is also perfect pin bar, and now like because with each of these candlestick patterns there's like a little room that we can in which we can like change some, or how to say it. So for example, if you look at this pin bar, okay, I don't know if this is the pin bar that we are looking for, or whether this is like a doji candlestick. If you know the doji candlestick, then you know that the opening and closing price is basically the same, and that's what's happening here. But on the other hand, in the instructions or in the rules section for the pin bar, they don't say anything about the size of the body, or they do say something, but it's like nothing that we can code. So we have to make some rules on our own. So yeah, and what will be the rule? One thing that comes into my mind is that we can say something like that the body has to be larger than the upper shadow. Okay, it will filter out some pin bars, but it can give us like more precise patterns. So let's try that. Okay, so I'll go back here to the section where we check the conditions, and we can say that the body is larger than the upper shadow. Okay, and if I compile this, you can see that, for example, on this candlestick we had an arrow here, and now we don't. So that's how we filter out some of the pin bars, and you have to decide for yourself whether this is something that you want to do or not. Okay, so I am pretty happy with this. So now what I will do is that I will copy this function right here, and I will create the same thing for the bearish pin bar. So let's just rename the function to bearish pin bar, and yeah, so the candle size is high minus low, upper shadow, because we are dealing like with the opposite type of candlestick, then we have to change these prices here. So the upper shadow will be high minus open price, because with the bearish candlesticks, open price is higher than the closing price. Then the same thing goes in here and in here, and just change the sign in here, and then basically we are interested in the upper shadow, not the lower shadow, and its name is here to bearish bar. Okay, and body size is higher than lower shadow. Okay, so let's change the name. Oh, I see that. Bullish pin bar, so bearish pin bar. Okay, and now we need to use the high and arrow down. Okay, so I think this is valid as well. So I will go back here, and I will call the same function for the bearish pin bar, and let's see what happens. So yeah, we can see that we receive signal for the bearish pin bar right here. I don't like the fact that the arrow like is within the bar, so what I will do is that I will go back here and I will say high plus upper shadow, and now it should shift. Yeah, now it shifts. Okay, so this is nice. Also the same thing, nothing fancy here, but it works, and that's the most important thing. So in your own code you can like change the conditions a bit, you can like add your own conditions to it, but I think this is like a good start for the pin bar. Okay, yeah. So also a thing that you can do, because pin bar usually corresponds with the change of the trend. Okay, so for example, if the market goes up and in this upward direction you receive a pin bar, then it like doesn't make that much sense, because the pin bar is supposed to show you the change of the trend. So that's something you can filter out, for example. So you can use something like RSI indicator, and you can say that you want to display only pin bars if the RSI is even below or above a certain level. So that's something that you can do in order to improve the selection of the candlestick patterns. But that's just an idea for you. So for example here, okay, you see that there's no trend in the market, and then you get this pin bar. It is a pin bar, but like you need the context for it, and there's no context in here. So what you would be looking for is, for example, something like this. Okay, so there's this downwards trend, okay, and then you are waiting for a pin bar to happen, and then it gives you the signal that there might be the change of trend, and that's what you are looking for. So yeah, that's just like how to use it. Anyway, let's continue. So now that we have coded our functions, the last thing that remains is to create an input field for it. So input group, and let's call it bullish / bearish pin bar. Okay, so that's it. And now input boolean, let's first show bullish pin bar equals to 2, input boolean show bearish pin bar is equal to true, and now we'll just change the colors, or allow the user to change the color. So color bullish pin bar color is equal to color maroon, and input color color spring green, so it's up, and then bearish pin bar color will be color maroon, so that's like a shade of red. And then what you have to do is to go back here, and let's create some, or let's set an integer to our object. So name, firstly color, so this is going to be a bearish, so bearish pin bar color. And I also want to change the width of the arrow, so object prop width, and let's set it to 3. So yeah, this looks good, and I can do exactly the same thing here. I'll just change this to bullish pin bar color, and then on this function I need to check if show bullish pin bar, and also if show bearish pin bar. Okay, so this is, I think, all that I needed to do. Okay, so now the visualization looks better. We have more thick arrows. We also changed the colors, and just let's check if everything works. So if I disable the bearish, okay, now it should repaint. Okay, bearish, okay. If I disable the bullish, okay, now it works. Perfect. So yeah, perfect. What I will also do is that I'll just, because now I made the arrow 3 times larger, so I will multiply this by 3, so the arrow moves a little bit up. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next one. So yeah, thank you for watching, and bye.